Thanks for joining us, Craig Richards on VIP YouTube, who in a few weeks' time makes his second challenge for the British light heavyweight title. 15-1-1, plenty of experience. And Craig, I'm just looking at your record. Your last 7 opponents have all had winning records, haven't they? So you've been mixing in good company from Frank Buglioni onwards, haven't you?
Yeah. All my competitions always at a good high level. I haven't been the typical prospect coming through with these padded guys to make me look good. I've had it rough. I'm ready to go. So I got thrown at the deep end, been stuck in for a while, and love mixing it at this level now.
Yeah, I mean, you're 5-1-1 in that company, which is nothing to be ashamed of at all, given the guys you faced. Why do you think it'd be, second time lucky when you fight Shakan?
Because the first time I was a super middleweight, 5 days notice. I was 10-0 against a guy, 23 fights, 15 knockouts, with no training camp. A guy who just trained 12 weeks for Callum Johnson. Now jumped in last minutes with 5 days notice. Rolled the dice, gave away the weight, gave away the experience, and gave away a training camp for my first 12 rounder. Come up short on points. Didn't do myself too much disgrace. But this time now, I'm more experienced. I'm a real light heavyweight now. I can punch at the weight. I've always had the skills and ability where I could go 12 rounds without even a training camp. But now I've got that with the experience, plus I've grown into the weight, and plus now I've had a proper training camp for it. So it's a whole different experience now.
I mean, what do you make of Shakan? You must be someone you watch because you're both very tall. What do you make of him?
Yeah, he's good. He's used his range pretty well to get through his fights. That's what he's done. He's used his height as an advantage, but that's about it for me, really. I'm just looking forward to it, to go and put on a dominant display. That's about it, really.
How different for him is it going to be fighting with, boxing someone who's also rangy, long-armed and tall? I mean, he's never done that. I mean, I dare say in that gym you're doing that with Peter all the time. Yeah,
well, this is what I'm saying. He always talks about, you've never boxed someone 6'6", he's never boxed someone like 6'3". So it's a new experience for him. Also, I've been in there with big punchers. I've been in there with tall guys. I've been in with Jake Bull, 6'4", puncher, boxer. I've mixed it, as you say, in good company multiple times now to adapt on the night. I've come up in a couple fights in the bookies where I'm the underdog and caused the upset a couple times. So it'll be another experience on another big stage. I've boxed on many big stages. Another stage I'll be boxing on, headlining, ready for a title and being prepared properly this time.
Are you surprised? You're not, a lot warmer in the betting for this fight. Obviously, people are looking at the Sugden form, the bookies, I guess. Are you surprised that you're underdog yet again?
Nah, not really. I've had this multiple times. I had it for the Jake Bull. I was a massive underdog. Alan Higgins, I was a massive underdog. And I just like making a mockery of it, really, and just go out there. My friends say they win a lot of money when it happens, so they love it. They prefer it. They say, I hope they think you're the underdog. They love it. I'll say, yeah, hopefully.
You know what? I forgot the Alan Higgins fight. A few fights before this run, wasn't he? He was 9-0, was he, or something?
No, 12-0.
12-0 from the Peacock Gym,
I was only 6 or 7 fights in at the time. He was 12-0, 6 knockouts. That was like my 7th or 8th fight. And I fought a guy 12-0, 6. So even before I mixed it, this sort of company 7 fights ago, I mixed it with him. I boxed the Portuguese champion who beat 3 or 4 champions after me and only lost on points for a world title eliminator because he took it on 5 days' notice against Martin Murray. And he only lost that on points after taking it on 5 days' notice, but he beat 4 champions after me after I beat the Portuguese champion. And then I went on and moved up to boxing, as you say, the 7 in company. So really, when you look at the 9 in company and even a couple of the early fights before that, I've been boxing these guys for a very long time.
Out of everyone you faced, this is what I'd like to ask because of the good company, who's the best you've faced so far? Where if you had to face them again, you'd think, wow, I've got to be really on it. Maybe I wasn't then or I was on it and it was still hard. I've got to be even more on it. Of all them guys you faced?
Different. It's different, really, because a lot of the guys I faced, I was at different stages in my career. Like, I needed more experience sometimes for the guys I fought Like if I've boxed the same guy now, it'd be a complete different fight. Like, but I would say overall on paper, I'd say Buglioni probably the best guy I've ever fought. He's boxed for a world title. He was nearly defending the British outright. He had a high knockout percentage. He's been around the block, big amateur pedigree. So on paper, I'd say he's probably the best, physically a strong man. So I'd say on paper, he was probably the best guy that I'd faced.
Yeah,
and especially in the circumstance.
Yeah, I know it's mad when you look at, your size now and that you started at super middleweight. What do you make of this new 13-8 division for cruiserweights? Or are you dead comfortable at 175 £?
I'm comfortable at 175.
Yeah.
I'm not struggling on the weight. I'm making the weight comfortable. As you see, I'm strong at the weight, physically stronger than a lot of people in the 175 division. I'm not slacking on the height. I'm not really short for the weight. I'm not over tall for the weight and struggling to make the weight. So I think I sit bang in the middle perfectly for a light heavyweight, really.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because I was looking at that, this new cruiser, and I'm thinking, you've got guys like Anthony Yard who are shorter than you, but they're like twice as wide they look. How they do 175? They might be more suited to that weight.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a lot of light heavyweights that are going to be more suited for the new. Sorry, I just put my phone on charge because it's went a bit low. I think there's going to be a lot of guys in the light heavyweights who's been struggling for a while to make this weight, but they're too small to be cruiserweight. So 13.5 is going to be the perfect weight for them.
Yeah. How do you, obviously, the British at the moment, people look at Buatsi, Yard, Arthur, and after that comes yourself and Shakan. How do you assess the three people consider the main men at the moment, should we say? Yard, Arthur, and Buatsi.
Yard, Buatsi, and Joppa. I think it's Johnson. I think Arthur's behind me. Callum Johnson, Buatsi, and Yard, they're good fighters. I believe I'm just as good as these fighters. I feel like they're excellent operators. I'm excellent operators, and I think it's just time that I go out and prove how good I am in the division. When we look at the landscape of the whole division, I think that I've probably had the hardest fights in the whole division. I think if you look at my CV compared to everyone else, and I feel like sometimes when you're boxing hard operators constantly, it's harder to look good. So if I had a lesser opponents, maybe I would be looking amazing, blowing them out 1-2 rounds, not getting hit. But when you're fighting stiff competition and beating stiff competition time and time again, you'll get the wins, but sometimes you're not looking as good because they can bring out little flaws in you and little mistakes, but it helps you grow as a fighter. So I just believe that it's a time that I need to now go out and prove why I should be up at that top mix.
And you've also experienced, shall we say, the needle matches against Andre Sterling as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
A bit of bragging rights for the manner as such, shall we say?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I've had the grudge match where sold out. Everyone from the ends of everyone from the area has come down.
Yeah,
There's a lot of pressure on the fight. I've had that occasion now, so I know what it takes to win and go through them occasions. Things like that. Even the Jake Bull ended up being a grudge match. I think we ended up having 10,000 at the O2 Arena for that grudge match, live on Sky, live on DAZN in America. So 2 big TV network channels and he was ranked way above me at the time. He had a big knockout percentage ratio. He was actually one of the top matchroom fighters at the time. He was leading ahead of me at the time. So I had that fight with a lot of pressure on the line then as well with that grudge match. And I came through that, performed again. So I'm not shy to the occasions now.
Yeah. So you've had the grudge matches, you've had the title fight. So after that, the next thing, but before the world, has got to be the big money fight, so you don't have to work again.
There you go. I think it's safe to say after I beat Shaq, I believe that I deserve to be up for that sort of mix now, because I think I've done everything domestically. I've put myself domestically in the mix for a very long time. And you go through my CV and you look at the guys I've beat. Any of these guys who I've beat before and boxed, you could have technically had them for the British. So I could have won the British outright by now. So it's safe to say, once I've beaten Shaq, that would be a guy 14-0, beat guys 12-0, 10-0, 12-1, Portuguese champions. I've time and time again, I've gone out there to perform. So I think now it's time that I start. I'm 7th in the world now in the WBA rankings, top 15 in the IBF. So I think I'm at that knocking on the door stage of moving through the ranks now.
Well, I said, this is your 18th fight, your 8th, shall we say, tough fight on the spin on paper. And also you've had the Alan Higgins fight. So 9 of your fights have been really serious. 9 out of 18 proper fights. Some guys have 18 fights and don't face a winning record.
Exactly. Most people, when I look through most people's box recs, I'm like, he ain't even fought anyone. And it's surprising me, but I didn't have them luxuries. From I think my 4th fight, I think I bought a guy with a winning record, Richard Horton, who'd boxed for the Southern Area.
Oh, I know Richard,
I boxed him on my 4th fight. I knocked him out in 1 round. I boxed him for my 4th fight on a Sky show on the Joshua Public workout. So I've had people who know their way around the ring early on. So so when people say to me, oh, I don't understand this guy's hype, who's he fought? I laugh. I think, you obviously not done your research. How could you question who I've fought? So I just think, you know what, leave them to it. They'll find out fight night.
And finally, before we let you go, your prediction for the fight against Shakan. Is it going to be a knockout win or is it going to be a skillful points win?
I think I'm going to get him out of there.
Ooh.
I believe I'll get him out of there.
Brilliant.
I'm not planning to get paid for overtime, so I need to get him out.
Thanks for joining us today. Pleasure talking to you, and good luck to yourself in the fight against Shakan.
Okay, thank you very much. Good speaking to you as well.
Thank you. Good speaking to you.
Bye.
Thanks.
For all boxing info, news, and latest interviews, amateur and pro across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.